Hello everyone, Ted Clayton here. This video is going to be about something that I've had on my mind for some time. I was kind of deducing this theory, and then I saw it recently in an article, and that's how heightism is essentially revenge for fat shaming. So, or we're going to narrow it down to that dimension, but in essence, for men being so picky when it comes to their preferences. Okay. So this was an article that I saw, I want to say it was on Vice or Teen Vogue. I actually don't remember. If it comes to me, then I'll share the link. But it was one of these more modern, hip magazines, and that's not a slight at all, just something a little more contemporary. That's what I meant. And it drew my attention because what it was talking about was how it was encouraging women to be more, it was really saying people, but it started out, the catalyst was more talking about women, and then it got into people. So I think people know what I'm referring by that. People becoming more accepting of the differences in height. And there were some things that I liked about the article. I think it was being fair, but and I would say in all they were being fair. They were being very blunt with their language, but I would say it's better than nothing. I'll leave it at that. Anyhow, let me and again, if it comes to me, I'll share the link of the article. I don't remember at the moment, but I'll probably be able to find it. Let me just share one thing. Another thing that's been on my mind for the past couple of days that I want to just put out there, and I may just share from time to time just to kind of clear the air. And that's a comment that someone made not too long ago on one of my videos, and that was how they suggested for me to stop doing blackpill content, focusing on heightism, because then I'll be more conscious of it. I want to say that this person was being sincere. I felt the sincerity in the message, and what they were encouraging, what they were suggesting, advising is that I focus more on, I try to do my own business, and they were complimenting, saying that they felt that I was very professional, had some really strong qualities as far as problem solving and expressing myself, being detailed, so that I can use that in different avenues. And again, I look at this as someone being very genuine, and I actually felt that. What I will say is this is one, that's already something that I have been doing. When I can, and I actually talk about this, I allude to this from time to time, which is because of heightism, it's very difficult to do things because there's not that much support. And I'll let one imply what that actually means. For example, like my video, I was fired due to heightism. All right. So I have been doing that, and when I can, when the opportunity presents itself, then I'll try to focus more on that. It's been slow, but I still keep the eye on the prize. What I will say is I keep that in mind, and I think I'm a self-aware person, so I'm gonna just put that out there. Actually, I didn't start talking about this until I was holding on to this for years, and let alone just the personal experiences, but when it really came to my consciousness of, okay, maybe we should start talking about this online. I've been thinking about this for years, to share online, and with a lot of things, I tend to hold back for some time if I'm really hesitant. Even though I can be someone that is not afraid to be confrontational, there is that side of me that's extra cautious. So with this, it was more, let me just kind of, deal with it, not be run over, but not be a doormat or anything like that, be disrespected, but let me just deal with it in my life. But then I started seeing people talking more online, and then my experiences were so crazy I said, all right, I definitely have more than enough to share. And then just started, really, my premise was, let me just talk about this and get a second opinion, even though I knew what it was. I knew what was going on. But again, just to put it out there, so no one can say that I just kept it all in. Anyhow, so I definitely want to preface this video with that. And then also, I started seeing that this kind of content was getting a lot of views. I started this channel for almost a year and a half until I started doing black pill content. And then I started seeing I was getting 100, 200, 400, 500 views. I said, all right, we got something here. Now then I started balancing it out, thinking, is my mental health worth it versus the reward of views? And it's not a lot. I thought my channel would blow up, but and then, take off. But that's something. That means people, it's that age-old theory of if you can just reach out to one person, that you're making an impact. So that's how I looked at it. One, I always saw myself as a centered person who's very centered, self-aware, and it was a way for me to vent. But then I started seeing it as, maybe I can help people out. Maybe, again, let's kind of put the spotlight on these disrespectful SOBs, but also let me share my stories so that there can be that community, right? So that's that. I see it as a way for me to try in the smallest way I can to help out. So that's that. Just wanted to put that out there. And every now and then, I think I may just reiterate that, not only for that individual, but just for people in general, just so people don't think I'm just so, because the way I see it is, and I'm taking a direct quote from someone, I forgot who exactly it was, but they said, trust the intelligence of your audience. So I'm basically going along those lines. Of course, if there's someone who's getting a little out of hand in the comment section, even with expressing just their frustration, I try to just, moderate that as much as possible. I understand sentiment, but just moderate it, or at least put my 2 cents. But other than that, if I see that there's something, then let me respect the intelligence of the audience. Anyway, so a whole lot to say. I saw this article from, I just talked a whole lot, and it's so early. It's about 7:30 right now, NYC. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so heightism as revenge for fat shaming, essentially. Again, we're going to keep it at that one dimension. So I saw this article, again, don't remember exactly where I saw it. If it comes to mind, I'll share it. And the way I see it is this. Now, let me just put this out there. This is something I don't like sharing because it's a very sensitive thing. So I only share it very rarely. Because now I'm talking about men, right? And I feel one of the few men that I feel that understands that women have been subjugated under men for millennia, thousands of years. And the reason why I don't like to say that is because it's one of those things where you don't want to bring it out prematurely to people because they may not know how to handle it. Now I'm talking about men. It's just too much for them to process, so you kind of maybe want to let them get that on their own, or if they don't, maybe you're just the one that realizes it and you work from that framework. So let's just shut down all the hate comments, for right now. So I do recognize that part. Now, the way I see it is, I understand, and this is what the article was basically saying, which was, what I was getting at was, this was something I kind of started deducing on my own. I started just thinking, just brainstorming. I said, you know what? This kind of feels like that's what they're doing. Like they're just trying to get some get back, right? And then the article said the same thing, and the way they worded it was, women want to, their preference in height is women wanting to assert their power or balance tip the scales again, right? Be on, how do I say it? Get power back in regards to the dynamics between men and women. And I said, okay, so I was right. So that is a factor. That is a thing. Now, here's my thoughts on that, right? Now, again, I already gave a baseline, which is I understand where women. Hopefully, my hands are not that dry, that ashy. It is early, so let's keep our hands down here. So I understand that part, and then I also understand women wanting to normalize things. I understand that part, but now where the criticism comes in, and I understand the need to have that reservation. I even talk about that with just heightism in general, more particularly with men who have a certain perception and then want to act out on that. Just people in general, but with men a little more, because with men, there's that added dimension of physicality, right? Of violence. Anyhow, so I understand those two things. But the other thing is, and what I was getting at with that was, I understand where women will want to reserve themselves before opening themselves up. I understand that. But there is a but there. How do women know? How does a woman know that is the, I'm going to use the word punishment, or that is the approach? Yeah, I'm going to say that. Hello, Pigeon. How are you doing? Good morning. How does a woman know that is a correct approach to take to a certain individual? How would they know that is not a lesson that they already learned themselves? Let me give an example. So, and look, at the end of the day, we're talking about splitting. That's what's going on. So, but if you look at people as a whole, people are just now even being made aware of this. Like, people are just, like, women are just now even taking the time to maybe wanting to listen to account or to hear what men have to say about this. So that's where we are just as a society. So if you're a little ahead of the game, you know that what we're really dealing with is splitting. So anyway, okay. So let me share this. Me, I'm a short man, 5'2". All right. I'm gonna. I would say that the equivalent of height to men is a skin complexion. And this is really low resolution, but for the sake of argument, let's use that metric, right? Now, that does go across the board, but I would say, and again, very low resolution, just for the sake of argument, where what sort of has the same relevance to both sexes. Let's just use that. I remember when I was once in college and one right after college, and it was, both were dark-skinned black women. And I remember I turned them down, and when I looked back at it, I was so embarrassed. It's something where, you ever think about something you did, and you're just, when you become a little more self-aware and centered, you can be embarrassed, you can be angry at yourself, but you don't beat yourself up. It's just more of, you just look back and, you see what's going on at that time, and you say, okay, that's just how I was thinking, that's how I was processing, that was messed up, it is what it is, but that's not who I am. That was just, I was still immature, or I still didn't see clearly at that time. Okay. Which one should I share first? Okay, I'll share the first one, which was, and let me just put this out there, both girls were really pretty, but it was just again, dark-skinned women are just less appealing or to most men. So it was just that. And then just also other factors, just thinking too hard. So to not make it that complicated, that's really what it is. And what this all really comes down to is one being so, and again, not to beat myself up, but one being so very self-conscious about my ashy hands. I do have lotion though. One being self-conscious about, one wanting validation through who their partner is, who they hook up with. That's really what it is. So the first instance that I can remember, the first example was I was at SOBs here in New York. It's a small concert venue here in New York. This is for anyone that doesn't know SOBs. SOBs is it's the venue where artists who are just about to blow up go. Like they're signed, they have a record deal, but just before they go mainstream, they will perform at SOBs. So that's what that is. It's down here in Tribeca, here in New York City. And at that time, I don't want to put this out there, but I'll just say this much. At that time, I was seeing Charles Hamilton. Anybody who knows him knows who that is. And I actually know the gentleman, so I'll just leave it at that. Very cool guy. So anyway, I'll just leave it at that. Just had to kind of show off right there, just kind of pull rank there, but that's that. So came there out of respect also to see the performance. And I'm there waiting. And there was this girl who I was talking to online. This girl who I already know. I actually knew her from high school. So I started talking to her and I got her attention. Now, thinking back, this was me unconsciously just wanting to get attention, just me wanting to have somebody, just talk to somebody, get on their DMs, whatever. I think that's what the kids say, you slide on their DMs, is wanting to get attention, but not really seeing the whole thing out. And this is another thing, women, I have to, speaking for myself, but I think this will go for most men. And I think we'll see the sincerity in it, where a lot of men just did not know how to interact with the opposite sex. Not only just being a young man, how difficult that is in of itself, just being a young person, young adult for both sexes, but in this modern culture. So I'll leave it at that. So again, just trying to get attention. And I see the girl. 1 second, low power mode. I see the girl at the venue. She sees me and she approaches me and she's pushing up on me. And I am not receptive. Now, I'm not being like stone cold, but I'm feeling embarrassed. Like, like you're okay, and then I started getting self-conscious because again, it's you want to get validation through the person that you're involved with. So I'm like, no, I want like in your head you're thinking you want like a Victoria's Secret model to be the one pushing up on you, not just some regular girl from the hood. You know what I'm saying? So I remember she made a move, a very strong move, and I just totally froze. I had my back up against the wall. This got like so far away. I got my. It looks like he may be looking at me, but he probably just looking my direction, maybe looking at the birds. But he was passing by here just earlier. That was the guy that I turned my head to. Probably some schizo guy just having his morning walk or whatever. No issues with that. So I have my back up against the wall. She reaches out and puts her hand out like this. So if I'm standing up against the wall, she puts her hand out like that. Sort of like, I'm gonna try to demonstrate to the camera. So if that's me, she puts her hand like that. I think people understand what I'm saying. To basically just, pin me to the wall. And I just freeze up. And you could feel the energy just kind of die. The second time was when I was in college in New York University. I was taking this class. There was this girl who I used to always sit next to. Again, another black girl, dark-skinned girl. And again, I have to emphasize this again. Both of these girls were very pretty. I was just being picky, that's all. I was sitting next to this girl because I was trying to find somebody to sit next to at that class. Just to, to sit with somebody, just to make it, just for company, whatever, just to have somebody to sit with. So, not be alone, which everyone does. Anyhow, so I'm sitting there, for weeks, days, weeks, I would probably even say months, a few months. We're building rapport. I mean, I've known this girl for some time, but we're talking, we're laughing, we're getting to know each other more, we're cracking jokes. I maybe not have been reading the signs, but then one day I remember I'm sitting next to her, and she takes her arm and she puts her arm behind my back, but leaning on the seat. You get what I'm saying? And again, I just froze up. And after that, kind of pretend nothing happened, and that's that. Honestly, I draw a blank after that. But yeah, when I look back, I would say if it's something like this where I am being picky, or let's be even more blunt. If I see some, I don't want to say flaws, but that's a strong word, but if I see some qualities that just don't really grab me, I start seeing some things that don't really grab me as much, but as a whole, I'm attracted to the person, I see something in the person, then what I would say, the way I would approach it now is, okay, well, let's recognize that quality, and we don't have to, we can spend just a certain amount of time with this person, or we can keep a certain distance from the person, but we know who they are as an individual, and that's what we really were attracted to. It's just you lost sight of it. So it's not that I didn't see that, but it's more of a losing sight with it and not knowing how to deal with that. You feel like all eyes on you and things like that. So it's like, okay, well, if you feel that way, then maybe, like, again, approach it a certain way, or create some distance. Maybe you're not maybe you guys are not as compatible as you think, or maybe this is just a short-term thing, things like that. So, yeah. And again, to this day, I feel so embarrassed. The last girl, the latter, the one from New York University, when I was going to Thailand back in 2016, she was living out there. We were still friends on Facebook. She was living out there. And I reached out to her because I wanted to meet her. She was married and all by this time, and she's married to a white guy. We'll leave it at that. I may be one of the reasons why that happened. Hopefully it's a genuine connection. I do have a video on interracial relationships, dating, and couples. Definitely check that out, one of my more recent videos. But and again, it's price splitting. People being real absolutist, but you got to be understanding. But the clock is ticking. I'm a early millennial, so the clock is ticking. I'm very fortunate to look this good at this age. And I reached out to them. I will give myself a pat on the back that I played the situation well, because I think she kind of got that I regretted, what I'd done, and I think it was just kind of like a implied kind of thing where I was like, hey, I would like to see you, would like to catch up, just want to see how you're doing. I was just saying stuff like that. We're keeping it very simple, but really stressing that I really wanted to get to see the person. I was going over there, and I found out they were there, but it was like, no, I really would like to see how you're doing. And I think they got where I was going with this, which is like, hey, I feel kind of bad, and I really do think you're a good person. That was just kind of, I was still a little immature. I still wasn't seeing things too clearly, but I know who you are as an individual. So that's that. I still would probably like a post here and there, whatever the case may be. No one likes my posts because I'm a dissident, and then also no one is on social media, so it's one of the two. Anyhow, that's all I wanted to say for this video. Heightism as revenge for fat shaming and or men being very selective when it comes to their preferences. And one last thing, and again, I've been talking way too much. or more than I really wanted to for this video. Shout out to 7-Eleven. Their juices are really good, really great. So, good quality. All that stuff is actually decent quality. What I was going to say, the other thing what I want to end this with is what I would like women to see, what I would like them to think about is, yes, as I was saying before, I recognize that women have been subjugated under men for millennia, thousands of years, ages. But sometimes, one, as I was saying before, one is, how do you know that approach of not allowing someone in, how do you know that's the proper approach to take? Thanks for listening.